Do you have a moment when your brain is just like, we were going somewhere with this, and that train is dead? In some ways, it feels like reading a very watered-down version of Shakespeare. Dun dun dun! The tension, I feel it. Hello there. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley. Today I'm going to be discussing all the books I want to read in February of the year 2021. This is my TBR for February 2021. This video is going up a bit late. That's fine. It's cool. So I've already begun reading for the month of February. So books that kind of books that pulled over from the month of January. So we're going to go over current reads and then books that I would love to read that I have on hold at the library. Coming up soon. So the first book, Twelfth Night by Shakespeare. If you watched my January wrap-up up there, you'll know that I read Twelfth Night in the month of January for a audited college class from Coursera, links down below, and I'm currently reading through this play again. If you don't know anything about Twelfth Night, this story follows Viola, who has been shipwrecked in the country of Illyria, and to protect herself, she's disguised herself as a man and started to work for Count Orsino. Count Orsino's main work for her to do is to go and woo the lady Olivia, whom Count Orsino is in love with. But Olivia herself is way more interested in being in love with Count Orsino, but she's trying to do well by him, so she woos the lady Olivia, and the lady Olivia falls in love with Viola, not knowing that she is actually a woman, and it's giant and it's messy, and then it gets worse because her twin brother Sebastian, who she thought was shipwrecked, is not actually shipwrecked, and he shows up in town, and they're both identical, and everybody thinks they're talking to Viola, and they are not. This play is really funny. I'll leave links down below for a YouTube video of a great adaptation of this play. I will be reading through this play much more slowly than I did the first time. In January, I read through it in a weekend, and I loved it. And this time I'm reading through for context and analysis, and I am halfway through Act 2 at the moment. I think so. I think that's the homework for the end of this week. And I will finish reading this novel with all of the analysis and the experts' opinions at the end of the month. So I'm really excited to begin unlocking Shakespeare, and so far I'm loving it, and I actually find comedic humor in this play, but it's mostly due because I watched an actual adaptation of it and figured out what the heck the language was saying. I've also had a lot more practice with understanding classical language, and I think that really helped. I'm also currently reading Robinson Crusoe by Defoe. This book follows Robinson, who sets out for America to seek his fortune despite his parents' dire warnings that all will end in failure and loss, and quickly gets shipwrecked, and he's the lone survivor on an island. I am really excited for this book, but the writing style is really slowing me down. This was published in the 1719, I think, and it's quite... I'm struggling with the writing. The sentence structure makes my brain go, what? And we're working on it. So in some ways it feels like reading a very watered down version of Shakespeare, I guess. I'm only on page 8 because it's quite a slow read. I thought this would be a much quicker read, and it's not, which is fine. We're going to just take our time. We're going to enjoy it. And if it takes until July to finish it, cool. Actually, and I also finally finished the introduction, so it wasn't that I've been working on page 1 to page 8. The introduction is like 20 pages long, and I kept falling asleep during the introduction, so that also didn't help. The next book I'm reading is Wildfire by Nelson DeMille. This is a detective novel set in the year after 9/11 in the United States, with concerns about government agencies trying to keep tabs on terrorist activities at the time. It follows Detective John Corey and his wife Kate when they suspect foul play against a detective who shows up dead. And the more they dig into this murder that they think is a murder, they realize that there is a plot unfolding to release a nuclear weapon in the United States on an entire city. I am about 150 pages into this novel, and I am enjoying a lot of it. It does have adult content, so heads up for that. One thing I do have concerns about in this novel is the treatment of the Islamic world and Islamic people in general, and I'm not sure how that will balance out. I know that the first part of this book has been highly Islamophobic and showing the religion and culture of Islam to be something very threatening, and I personally don't agree with that view. It's very, very stereotyped, and I'm not sure how that will resolve. So hopefully it shows that that's not true, because it's not. So that's my only concern with this novel thus far. I mean, we've only had the people perspective on this group from the villains of the story, so I'm hoping that once we get more into the hero's perspective that idea goes away. We'll see. I do have quite a few issues with that, though. This is also quite a long book, which I'm surprised by. It's about 700 pages long. It doesn't look that thick, but it is. The last book is The Talent War, and this is by several authors, so I'm just going to list two, Mike Sarraille and George Randle. This book explores how the United States Special Operatives Force selects and develops their best training and military operatives in the world. This is like the elite of the elite in terms of the military. They explore what they do and how they select people, their talent, the talented people, to how those principles can be used in businesses and organizations, and how they can use those principles to be more competitive. I'm about 40 pages in, and I am reading this for work, but I am actually enjoying this. I'm quite interested in what's going on here, but also this is very applicable to my job and what I'm doing, and what I'm helping other people doing, so I find it interesting because it feels very applicable to me. I'm reading this slowly because I want to be able to discuss it and discuss it intelligently and knowing and understanding the concepts that I'm talking about. All right, new books that I want to start. Do you have a moment when your brain is just like, we were going somewhere with this, and that train is dead? That's what just happened to me. Okay, try this again. Books that I would like to start and hopefully finish. Other books that I want to get to. There we go. Other books that I want to get to in the month of February. We have American Royals by Katharine McGee. I've had this book on hold probably for 4 or 5 months now. This is the first book, and I think the second book just came out. The premise of this book is that in the 1780s, when George Washington was offered a crown, he of course said, yes please, I want to be king, and now America has a royal family, and we have 3 teenage children who are the American royals, and I'm not sure what year or time period it moves forward in history, because they talk about having computers and laptops, so it's definitely the early 2000s, or maybe even set in our own contemporary time of like 2016, 2020s, not really sure yet. And the glittering age of monarchies has not faded away, so all of these countries that used to have monarchies still have monarchies, and it is a story of intrigue, and a story of politics, and a story of falling in love, and needing to fall in love, and getting married, and all of the intrigue that follows, and I'm just really excited. This just seems like it will be a fun, fluffy-ish read, and I've listened to the first 2 chapters, because this has come in from the library for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed the first 2 chapters. This is quite a long book. It's about 15 hours of audio, which I think translates roughly to like 450 to 500 pages. And I've already put the second book on hold because I've liked it enough that I want to listen to the second book. It's going to be like another 8-month waiting period on that. I really want to explore this idea. I love the idea of what would have happened if this moment had been different in history. And if the romance is written well and the plot and the world building support that romance, I could potentially see myself really, really loving this book. I've heard it's very similar to Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan, and I quite enjoyed those books. So here's happened. The next book that is set to come in for me at the library is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is the prequel to The Hunger Games, and it follows President Snow as he becomes a mentor for the first time in The Hunger Games. He's been given the humiliating task of trying to mentor a tribute from District 12, there we go, and he's hungry to prove his ability, and he's hungry to get glory. I am expecting this book to be kind of a tragedy, an archetype for a tragedy where the main character kind of loses their humanity. One of my biggest complaints about the Hunger Games is that we don't have any backstory for President Snow, and that he's just an evil arching overlord, and we don't understand his motivations per se. So I'm really excited to see what she does with this. I know prequels tend to not do so well because you're going back and saying this is what really happened, and that could go either way. I just finished the Hunger Games for the first time in December, and I don't know, I have really high expectations, and I'm trying to not have high expectations because I loved The Hunger Games so much. Next, we have Jade City by Fonda Lee. One review for this novel said that this is a classic Hong Kong gangster film, which I have never seen one of those films, and I would like to see one of those films. Anyway, it's set in a medieval metropolis. So this follows the Calls as they tried to control the capital by monopolizing the jade market. Jade in this world is magical, and it gives people certain abilities, but it only affects certain people, until there is a drug that comes into market that gives the people who use this drug the ability to use jade, regardless of who their ancestry is and what their DNA is. And the Calls have to work to keep their edge. I have no idea really what to expect out of this novel. I've heard lots of people talk about this, and a lot of people have really liked it. And a lot of people that I trust say that they've enjoyed it, so I'm willing to give it a try. I'm kind of expecting some anti-heroes as main characters, people who are kind of like, they're not great people, but I really want to know what happens to them. I'm expecting to enjoy it. I really have not dug into crime novels a lot, so we'll see. I'm excited for this, but also my expectations are, I have no idea where to place those because I've really not read much in this genre before. And last but not least, Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. Still, this is going to be on my TBR until I read it, basically. This is the fourth book in the Stormlight Archive. This is my first time reading through the series, and this follows the Alethi, who are currently at war with the Parshendi. The Parshendi murdered the Alethi king, King Gavilar, and they are trying to get revenge. And on the way to getting revenge in these giant war camps, we have several characters who discover that they have strange abilities and they can do weird things, and it's very similar to an Order of Knights that existed centuries in the past, but that Order of Knights was highly disdained, nobody likes them, and they're thinking that they might have to put together this Order of Knights again to save the world from an apocalypse, and it's lovely. There's a lot of deep character growth, there's a lot of really great plot that all gets mixed together. It's the blending of a lot of really good things. I also haven't met a Brandon Sanderson book I haven't liked. So if you are hit and miss on Brandon Sanderson, I don't know what to tell you. But I really enjoyed Brandon Sanderson. And I have yet to get my hands on a copy, so that's basically what I'm waiting for, is getting my hands on a copy of this. It is a 63-hour audiobook, and I have it on hold from the library, but there's 0% chance that I will be able to listen to 63 hours of audio in 2 weeks. It's not happening with my life right now. So I need a physical copy to help me. That's all. And let's also preface this with the fact that this might be a TBR, but it's mostly a wish list, and I could read all of these. I could read none of these. And you'll just have to wait till the February wrap-up to see what actually happens. Dun dun dun! The tension, I feel it. I will talk to you all later. If you've read any of the, I lied. If you have read any of these books, I would love to know what your thoughts are and whether you enjoy them or not, and why and why not. And that's all I have to say. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye!